rates and conversion rates.
So who am I? John Aspinall, brand evangelist at PickFu, 15 years in e-com, data-driven, focused on creatives. So I'm solely focused on creatives. If it's anything about, you gotta walk a little bit back, hold on. The feedback. PPC, don't ask me, all about the creatives, all want to get those clicks and get those sales. New York City, born and raised, which means I have no filter. So a lot of times that comes across a little aggressive, but it's only to help you with your images, and it does indeed all start with the click. So what is CTR? Click-through rate, clicks and views.
Okay, so a little bit about me. 12 years selling on Amazon, 3 seven-figure brands in different niches, 7 successful Kickstarter campaigns, and I'm all about conversion and actually getting the sale. So what's conversion? Really simple. Your conversion rate is your purchases divided by how many people have the opportunity to purchase. In a lot of cases, they use views. But before we get started, let's do a little poll. Haha. Okay, who thinks, show of hands, click-through rate is the most important? We got a few, right on.
I'm very disappointed. I will sway you all by the end of this, I promise you.
We'll redo a poll afterwards. Who thinks conversion rate is the most important? Okay, keep those hands up for 1 second and you can get a t-shirt for the conversion rate. Oh, there we go, I got some more hands going up. Some people didn't even vote. Yes. We use some AI magic to change the song, so it says talk data. Okay. They wouldn't allow a t-shirt cannon next year, maybe. Okay. Don't worry, there'll be more, there'll be more.
But I will say, after that, you're in a no-pitch zone. So if you feel you want to text that number with that t-shirt, by all means, text that t-shirt.
Thanks, John.
So why is CTR important? So CTR drives discovery. So revenue starts with visibility and getting shoppers to your listings. I say it all the time, it all starts with a click. You could have the world's most beautiful product detail page, you can have the best product in the world, but if no one's clicking, they're not seeing that and they're not going to purchase. So Amazon's rankings depend heavily on CTR. High CTR signals stronger market appeal. So the more people that are clicking, this is telling Amazon, this is relevant, this is interesting, we should have this being shown more and more. So low clicks with low sales is a red flag. So it's not resonating. So low clicks with low sales, you don't want that. So high CVR also reduces acquisition cost. Yeah.
Cool, and why is conversion important? Well, it's like a leaky bucket, right? So if you're getting traffic into it, but you're not optimizing your home base, the water's just running through it, and you're doing a lot of work that's going down the drain, so to speak. Your conversion rate pays the bills. Revenue only happens when you actually make the sale. Amazon's ranking depends on conversion rate. They make money when you're selling. And it also depends on sales velocity. So the higher your conversion rate, the faster the better and faster your velocity will be. It's a better customer experience. And if you do get high clicks but very low sales, it can be a red flag that you get penalized for too. So you can't just get all these clicks without actually converting really well. And of course, a high conversion rate also gives you a better advertising ROI because you get lower costs per clicks and a more efficient ad spend.
So how do you measure CTR? So there's 3 ways you can measure CTR on Amazon. The first one is probably the easiest and most effective way. That's Amazon Advertising Console, so basically your ad manager. The second one is Brand Analytics, which is Search Query Performance Report. That takes a little bit of work and finessing to be able to read that. Raise your hands real quick. How many people actually read your Search Query Performance Report? Cool. And keep your hand raised if you think it's very easy to read. Yeah, it's not. It's super difficult. So if you're running ads, it's easier to see the CTR. And the third way is Amazon Business Reports, which is probably the most difficult. So Amazon Ad Console, you can see that over here. Very, very simple. You sort by the columns. You could sort CTR. You can see I have the cool laser pointer. He doesn't. So I can show you right here. That's a CTR depending on, is that good? Is that bad? We're going to get into that a little bit. So brand analytics over here, brand share, brand click, all that kind of good stuff. And then business reports. A little bit of a throwaway. It's really hard to see any of that kind of stuff in here, but I wanted to round it out for 3 because he had 3.
I actually got 4. So
he added an extra.
So there's a few ways to measure conversion rate. So business reports, like John was saying as well too, PPC, brand metrics, and search query performance. We'll go through these pretty quick because most of you guys should know about this. So business reports, it's basically your unit session percentage, right? So units sold over the sessions. This is usually the most common way to measure conversion. PPC, obviously you can measure your conversion rate per product. In there, it's just your orders over clicks. Also, it's important to keep in mind when you're doing the business reports, your PPC data is actually in there. So it's all of your conversion, organic and PPC combined. But if you want to get fancy, you can actually subtract the PPC conversion from your total to get an organic conversion rate too. Brand metrics is another way. So this is inside Campaign Manager. You go to Insights and Planning, go to Brand Metrics, and then you hit View Detailed Metrics. And this is super cool, and not a lot of sellers know about this one. So definitely take this as a takeaway and check this out. So with Brand Metrics, it'll actually give you your orders divided by considerations for your brand. And and here you can see, I can't actually see that number, my eyes are bad. John blinded me with the laser earlier.
22%.
Thank you. Yeah, this will give you your total conversion rate for the actual, for your actual brand for a specific category. So here you have luggage and travel gear as the category.
Okay, cool. So what is a good CTR? So how many people, it's gonna be very interactive. How many people actually look at their organic CTR versus their, so what's more important? Raise your hand for organic CTR. And then now raise your hand for paid CTR. See, not a lot of folks raise their hands, right? But I guarantee most of you are looking at the paid CTR when you're looking at it. So what's a good one? For organic, benchmarks are average, good, excellent, 1.5 to 2.5 for average, good 2.5 to 4%, excellent, above 4%. Those numbers sound crazy when you're talking about CTR because most people are looking at the paid one. So for more realistic, the paid ones was going to be average 0.4 to 0.75%, good 0.75% to 1.5, excellent above 1.5%. So before he continues, who in here has over a 1.5% click-through rate on their products? Interesting. Okay, cool.
Oh, sorry, I hit it.
You clicked on me.
I apologize.
So how do you improve CTR? So now it's 9 o'clock, we're getting rid of all the boring stuff. We're gonna start to look at some creatives and images, right? So how do you improve CTR? So there's a couple of main ways that you can affect it over here. So you have the image, you have the title, you have your product rank reviews and price. But there's only so many things you can change, right? The price is pretty much the price for what it's gonna be. The title, you've already baked that out for SEO, but now we can actually play with the image. So you can see over here, I pulled some examples for melatonin gummies. So how do we improve it? Clear CTR wording on what the product is. So with 𝐿𝐰𝐤𝐬 right here, you can see right away, it's sleep gummies. It makes it super crisp, super clear, super easy to read. You take a look at this, you don't think that it's something for vitamin C, you don't think that it's for a vitamin or anything like that. You know specifically that it's a sleep gummy. Clear wording about the product's value prop. So you can see over here, so this is 20 milligrams. So not only are you showing what it is, but what is the clear value prop? By the way, everything that I'm saying has to be readable from the SERP, the search engine result page. If you're putting all these value props very, very small and people can't read it from the SERP, they're not going to click. And if they're not going to click, they're not going to see it and they're not going to buy. This seems super basic, but a lot of brands aren't doing this. If quantity, showing the quantity. There's no question that that's 100 gummies right there. Make it clear, make it understandable so that people are clicking, especially if you're at a higher price point than the competition. Being at a higher price point, that's okay. But if you're showing the value that you have more quantity or more gummies and they're not, that's going to aid in your CTR. So if scent flavors, show it clearly. This is a no-brainer that a lot of brands, another no-brainer that a lot of brands lack on, because if you're running ads on this, and you don't show very clearly that it's a strawberry, and someone likes what you're saying, and then they click and they land on it after running an ad and they click and they land on it, and they're like, ew, I hate strawberries, they're not gonna convert. And that's a wasted ad spend, you're increased tacos, increased ACOS, and that's just not good. So you wanna make it super, super clear on what the flavor prop is for this. But at the same time, you've probably seen this and you don't wanna do this, You don't want to put cartoon, graphical kind of strawberries or fruits or scents. You want to make it look as realistic as possible. So if I like strawberry, I want to almost taste the strawberry from the image. You want to show the product itself. I mean, this sometimes even with 𝐿𝐼, which is a monster brand in the space, and it's a clear container, showing the product outside is super important, but not just showing the product outside, showing the actual product. Don't show a rendering of it. Don't show a stylized icon of it. Don't show raining down different, we're getting a lot of feedback. I'm gonna move over there. Back away. You don't want raining down gummies. You don't want a spill of gummies. You want to show very, very clearly. If it's quantity 2, if it's quantity 3, you want to show that and make it very understandable to the consumer. This is a big one. I think you like this too, right?
I said, yeah, no, I really like the dead pixel real estate. I think you should trademark that.
My attorney's already on it, so that's
Nice.
fine. So dead pixel real estate space. So does anyone in here really think that if they were to buy LilyCare, I think it's LilyCare, they're gonna get the 60-day label on that actual lid? Does anyone actually think you're gonna get that on there? No. It's clearly a post-edit, but it's okay if you got it and it didn't have it on it. This is a utilitarian item that someone's gonna buy, they're gonna open, and they're gonna use. This is not a giftable item. We'll talk more about that in a second, but this is utilitarian. So anytime you have dead pixel space on a cap, on a lid, on a box, you wanna make the most of it and put clear value prop over here. So you can see with this one, by the way, none of the examples I'm showing have all of them in one. Interesting, right? Every one has a little piece of them, so technically no one in the melatonin gummy space is doing best practice right now. But you could see this is not per se 60 gummies, but it's a 60-day supply. So it might be 90 gummies, but you're taking, whatever that quantity is per day or whatever it is, but you're adding value prop in the dead pixel real estate space. So using color psychology to evoke emotions. Anyone want to shout out the color that you see the most with melatonin gummies?
Yellow.
Yellow? See yellow?
Oh, most. I thought most.
No.
Which one stands out the most?
Listen to this guy. Purple, right? Because purple, color psychology, it's associated with relaxing, calming, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a catch-22, because if everyone's showing purple, do I show purple too and fall into the sea of purple? Or is there other colors that I can be doing that resonate with calming, right? So for me, yellow does not scream calming. It screams vitamin C, excitement, vibrant, let's get up and go do some stuff, right? Versus purple is giving me that relaxing, calming feeling. So why should you care? So initially when we asked the poll, a lot more people raised their hands for CVR. Let me say this. If your CTR increases and your CVR stays the same, you make more money. I'm gonna say it again for the people in the back. If your CTR increases and your conversion rate stays the same, you make more money. So if your conversion rate is whatever it is, and all you're doing is increasing your click-through rate, that's more eyeballs at that same conversion, and you're making more sales. It's a lot easier to change and increase your CTR than it is your conversion rate. It's much, much easier. Why? Because you're affecting one image versus an entire product detail page. So I look for the lift. So is it for all categories? Nope. Sorry. So if you're selling apparel, books, media, or shoes, Amazon highly restricts what you can show on the main image. Anyone in here in the shoe space? No, because it's super rough and hard to deal with. Anyone in apparel? Apparel's very rough, but it's also certain things you can do, certain things you can't do depending on the product itself, right? Because a lot of these things, you can put packaging behind it, renderings behind it, but technically with apparel, there is no packaging. They come in a poly bag. So lots of different things you can do. Outside these categories, which I call the no-fly zone, sky is pretty much the limit. I know we're talking a lot about supplements. Is anyone in the supplement space in here?
Yep.
Congratulations, it is the full-blown Wild West on Amazon for the supplement space. You can literally put almost whatever you want. Supplements, consumables, drinks, the list goes on and on and on, but supplements is by far the Wild West. Don't believe me? You don't need to. Check Amazon on your competition, see what they're doing. So seeing the dead pixel space over here, seeing the actual product outside, seeing all these things right here. Does it matter? You tell me. All that was changed over here was the main hero image. And this was the increase in sales. Not a monster seller, but a monster increase in sales from just changing the hero image. The PDP or product detail page was not changed. The SEO was not changed. There was no change in ad spend. All that was changed was the main hero image to optimize it for a higher CTR. What did that kind of look like? Kind of looked like this. So what did this image do? So anti-fouling spray. Does anyone know what anti-fouling spray is? I had to learn that from talking with this client. It basically means like, don't do this and go away. It was the best way I could figure it out for cats, right? So interesting word. But adding that very clearly over here, what it is, adding the avatar, which is the cat, and then adding the ingredients or scent profile. But check it out right here, made in UK, right? So I can read and learn everything I need to know for the most part to make the purchase and make the click from this hero image. Before, I had no idea. I didn't know if it said cat repellent spray. I didn't see a cat. I didn't see lavender and lemon. I didn't know it was made in the UK, right? If I lived in the UK, that's probably very important to me. And this is amazon.co.uk, this listing, but also anti-fouling spray. So cat repellent spray, but that was the bigger search term over there. And I can go into further talking about how Amazon is using text on hero images to use inside Rufus and Cosmo for actual indexing. That's a whole other presentation.
Chuck, that's a question.
Yeah.
You have the cat, some of the pet space. You've got a cat there, which obviously is relevant to the product, but not really. So as far as TOS goes and stuff, you can put any kind of animal there relevant to that, as we're seeing we get away with.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that gray areas.
So none of this is really gray, right? Just like the supplement space, the pet space is the Wild West. So I challenge you to look at any pet item on Amazon, shampoo, supplement, pet toy, dog toy, and find someone that's not showing the actual dog or the actual cat playing with it or anything like that inside of it. So another Wild West category for sure. But good question. So how should you test? It's a no pitch zone, but how should you test? Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, and I totally agree, John. The easiest way to get some impact is your main image. It's one image, but we'll also go through some pretty cool, easy ways to update some secondary images to get that conversion rate. But first, what is a good CVR? So remember I was talking about that brand metrics thing, right? So inside Campaign Manager, not only will it tell you what your conversion rate is, but you actually can see the median conversion rate for the category as well too. This median, so it's the number in the middle, is basically it's the average. You don't want to be average. You actually want to be above this. And it also shows the conversion rate for the 95th percentile all the way to the right. So there the conversion rate, something crazy like 36%. So if you want to be on page 1 for a very highly competitive item, this is what we're up against. And a very cool way to get a baseline metric of your conversion rate. So there's also inside search query performance, if you want to see how to benchmark your conversion rate by keyword, you can do that as well too. That's the purchase rate, the average conversion for that specific keyword, right there highlighted in yellow. So how do you actually improve conversion rate? For me, it's uncovering buying objections and understanding why people aren't buying. Talk to shoppers, speak to them. So quick story, in the Wall Street Journal, they had an article about Lego. And in the early 2000s, Lego was actually not doing, they were doing a lot of research, but they were using data analytics. And in the early 2000s, what the executives found was that the digital era kids wanted more instant gratification. So they made their Lego kits actually much smaller. They had bigger pieces, so it was faster to build. And they were changing their model basically. They wanted quick and easy for these digital era kids, all based on data analytics. And the executives thought they had a home run. Can anyone guess what happened when they did that? Shout it out. Increased sales or increased? Polarized customer base. Anything else? They actually tanked. Lego was in trouble. And it's hard to imagine based on today, right? But what they did to turn it around is actually start doing focus groups. They actually started speaking to customers and finding out like what actually mattered. And it turns out that shoppers actually like to build things. They enjoyed the build. They actually got the most value and the most fun of building the sets. So after realizing this, LEGO switched their model and went back to making smaller and more intricate sets with so many more pieces, which you guys have seen today. They have these monster sets, like $1,000 you can build the Titanic, right? You can. And all the spaceships in Star Wars, ask me how I know. My son every other day is like, hey dad, I want this one, I want that one. So they did this, and then they became they're actually the biggest toy manufacturer in the world, right? Makes sense. All through the power of shopper feedback. So how should you get deep shopper insights and actually talk to your customers? So common best practices to increase your conversion rate. Obviously put benefits in your secondary images with a single main concept per image. Sell the sizzle, not the steak, with the lifestyle imagery. So we know this. This is just like the cost of entry for selling on Amazon. Always use A+ content to seal the deal. This is kind of common. What's not so common are the things that can actually really move the needle, because most sellers don't do this stuff. And in the world of Amazon, you want to do anything and everything you can to stand out and get the clicks, get the buys. So Amazon, for certain categories, they have View 360 and upload it to your listing. So why should we care about this stuff? You get 2 times improvement in purchase conversion if a shopper interacts with the virtual try-on or view in 3D. So basically, the more opportunity for a shopper to interact with the listing, the more content they consume, the more likely they're going to convert. It makes sense. So adding these things gives more opportunity for them to interact with the listing. You get a 9% improvement on sales on average when they do a view in your room is enabled on an Amazon product listing. Who wouldn't like 9% more sales just from adding one thing? Right, absolutely, everyone's hand should be up, right? Who wants 9% more sales? Yes, thank you. And this actually is right hot off the presses. So this was just a couple days ago. So we have a clicks and conversion club, and people were posting this. ChatGPT just updated their image creation tool. This works pretty damn good. So Max sharing this, he's at Props. Max in here? No. Talk to him about that. So he took a picture of this can, asked ChatGPT to make a model, and 30 seconds later, it made a pretty darn good model, right? It can also do infographics. So Andrew posted this, hey, give me an infographic of the top 10 benefits of a banana. Looks pretty darn good if we're selling bananas on Amazon. Sebastian did this toy car. Look at that 3D model. This is all in ChatGPT in 30 seconds. George was also playing with the videos too, so you can actually make these video ads. The lady there was spinning her hair for the hair care product. Luke was playing with it as well. He took a picture of this Sleek Aid toy thing. So the real picture's on the left. ChatGPT made that model on the right. That image as well, that was the seed image, and it said, hey, can you change the scenery? And again, 30 seconds, really good, high quality image just from the scenery. So this is live to everyone that has the paid ChatGPT account. Play with it, because the results are absolutely stunning. Okay, so best practice number 2, get premium A+. So not just basic A+. Who here has premium A+ on their listing? Most people, cool. So if you don't have premium A+, Daniela was sharing a hack with me on how to get it real quick. So you have to have brand registry. You apply a brand story to all the SKUs, even if there's no design. You submit the A+ content 5 to 15 times. You literally just duplicate it and resubmit 15 times. And as quick as 24 hours, sometimes it takes up to a week, you get access to Premium A+. Premium A+, just as a side note, is a great spot to talk about a story. So there's a concept called narrative persuasion, where shoppers actually become more engaged in a story. When they become more engaged in a story, they're more likely to open up to the message and emotion. And that's what we want. We want to trigger something. So when someone's on Amazon, they see your detailed bid, they're like, yes, I'm going to buy it. And emotionally charged content sticks 22 more times more than just facts and figures. So anything we can do to get the emotion, to get the reaction, is going to be better for sales. So why should you care about this Premium A+? Amazon reports these numbers. So you get an 8% boost on average conversion rate with basic A+, but you can get a 20% boost with premium A+. Another best practice, reduce the cognitive load in your listings. There's another psychology principle called cognitive fluency, where people just prefer information that's easier to process. Makes a lot of sense, right? But we don't practice this. I guarantee if we looked at your Amazon listings, there's facts, figures, there's infographics, I gotta squeeze all the information into all these images as much as possible. But it's information overload on Amazon. If you've ever searched for toothpaste, there's 10,000 options for toothpaste. How do I go through this, right? One of the best examples that's great, a billion-dollar company is Anchor. So they practice doing this, one feature per image. And if you look at their actual images, they're pretty great and subdued. They're kind of like taking it easy and making the message stand out as much as possible so people can take the information in. Again, the big takeaway here is the more information someone consumes on your listing, the easier you make it to consume the information on your listing, the more likely and quicker they're going to convert. You got the sale. Why should you care? Here's another case study from Unit 6. The before, the images above, they're a little bit more complicated. Afterwards, simplified them, made it one main benefit per secondary image. The conversion rate went from about 10% to 14%. And you can see on the chart that the blue line up to the right usually means good. Another case study from 𝐏𝐿𝐿, they were able to reduce cognitive load on this listing, so it had all this infographic, kind of floating stuff. They just focused on showing the product, showing what it can do, one main benefit per image, and more than double their conversion rate on this listing. Another best practice is creating open loops. So there's something called the 𝐏𝐿𝐿𝐿 effect. People are compelled to complete unfinished tasks. So what you can do in your listing is put things like, hey, the top 5 reasons why my product is the best. Or, hey, the secret to perfect skin, 5 steps to glow. And it looks something like this. But the important part of this is that you number the steps. And the reason why is because if someone sees a number 1, first they know where to start. They're not looking at an infographic with floating text all over the place. They know where to go. And once they start reading, they're compelled to finish. So they want to read, okay, what are the 5 reasons why this is the best? And again, the more content that they consume, the more likely they're going to actually convert. Costco is great at this. Who loves Costco? Yes! They make it so dead simple when you're purchasing, right, on their site. But what I love is they literally tell you, why should you buy from Costco? And you can't deny, they put some really good reasons there, and it just makes it so much easier. Yes, I should buy this TV from Costco. And you can do this too on your Amazon listings. Reduce the cognitive load. Best practice number 5, add that instant credibility. So Robert Cialdini, author of Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, he says that the authority principle is that people follow the lead of credible, familiar sources. So how can we apply this to our Amazon listings? Well, let's make them more familiar with known trust badges. So a really cool tip, and I know John loves this one as well, is add the American flag to your listing. Put it on the main image if you can. Put it in the secondary image 100%. Now here's the thing. Most of our products are made overseas. So we're not saying it's made in the US, but obviously if it is, that should be a whole image of itself. But what you can say is, hey, you're supporting a local small business based in the US. People resonate with this big time. And it can get you the click, it can get you the conversion, the click and the conversion when you practice something like this. And it doesn't matter where it's made. You can also say designed, with Apple, what do they say? Designed in California, right? It's not made in California. Other really cool tip that I think every seller should be doing, and there's so many benefits to this, is getting listed in these product roundup sites. So all the major publications, Forbes, CNN, New York Times, Wirecutter, USA Today, Top 10, they have these lists of products that you can actually just pitch the editor, be like, hey, I have a product, and it's the best in blah, blah, blah category. The interesting thing is, if they don't have a category for you, they'll make one. And they want your product listed on this. The reason why they want your product listed is because they make affiliate commission. So the more products they have, the more opportunity for people to buy, the more money they make. So just for example here, it's like best luggage, and you can see some of the categories are kind of ridiculous, right? Best lightweight, best carry-on, and those make sense, but when you go deep into these, you'll see they basically make categories just as an excuse to list more products. So who would like to be listed in Forbes and CNN and New York Times, right? Pretty cool. Here's what you do. Once you're listed on these, you can actually mention it on your secondary images and even your A+. So hey, as seen in Forbes, as seen in New York Times. We actually had a client, really large client, that was testing this with the New York Times Wirecutter badge. Huge client, and they were actually able to see a noticeable difference in sales. So much so that they're redoing all of their packaging, they're redoing all of their listing images to include it. So if it moves the needle for a massive $100 million brand, it'll move the needle for you too. The secondary benefit, which is amazing, is that AI will actually use these as sources. So who here searches AI more now than even Google, right? Right, look at the hands. Perplexity is a big one too for finding information on products. And what I've found is being listed on these, it makes you be recommended more than some billion-dollar brands. So how cool is it if you ask AI, hey, what's the best luggage tag? What's the best bike? And they recommend your brand over the big guys. Don't sleep on this, because the big brands are, and you have a huge opportunity to take them over. Okay, so before we end, let's do another little poll. Who thinks click-through rate is the most important? Show of hands. We got some.
Wow.
We got some.
Okay. I didn't sway you into my shirt. It wants another shirt? No, for you. Oh, for me? Listen.
So who thinks conversion rate is more important? Cool. All right. So in summary, at the end of the day, both are super important.
Well, I just want to say this, right? What's the easier, I'm not trying to make you sway you some more. What is the easier thing to change? CTR versus CVR. If you have an agency, if you have in-house designers, it's going to cost you a lot more time, money, energy to affect CVR over CTR. You want to do both, right? That's at the end of the day, you want to do both. But think about when you shop on Amazon. What's the first thing you do? You have a problem, you search for the solution. Do you click on everything and then compare the PDPs and the A+s against each other? You don't. You look at the image first, you look at the price, you look at the title, then you click. So it's kind of a play on CTR versus CVR. You need both, right? But the sale starts at CTR. The sale starts with the click. The sale does not start with the conversion. You're closing with the conversion, but you have to start with the click.
And talk to us for personal recommendations. We both have booths. Come see us, and we're happy to chat. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Any questions, Q&A, good stuff like that?
Yeah.
What's a good free source to continue this education? I mean, is there podcasts, books that you recommend?
Well, it isn't. So I would say YouTube is probably the strongest thing that you can use to learn for anything in any space, right? Understanding YouTube, certain things on AI, webinars, and try not to pitch.
No, honestly, follow John on LinkedIn. He posts incredible stuff a lot, very often. But it's good stuff, and he shares all of this. So if you want to learn how to do this, absolutely follow both of us. But John does post a lot on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I had a question too, actually. So in that image where you showed the melatonin, and you had the line of colors, so it was the color psychology, right? And you were saying that purple makes sense because it's kind of more, relates to sleep, that sort of thing. Yeah, we have a lot of slides.
Hold on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so in this one, so you're saying purple makes sense, and maybe the red makes sense as well too. But my first reaction, the reason why I said yellow, was my reaction was, hey, if everybody's doing purple, I want to be the opposite. And I think is yellow the opposite of purple? Maybe, maybe not. But to me, the yellow actually stands out. And I want to stand out in the service.
So you want to be a scroll stopper and stand out, but you want to stand out in the right way, right? So you want to still resonate with the fact of what it is. So does anyone in this room think of yellow and think of sleepy, melatonin, relaxing? Absolutely not. Yellow resonates with, energy, vitamin C, all that kind of stuff. So in my opinion, what's a better color that you can use to stop the scroll is, that still resonates with purple and relaxing, a lighter purple, a lighter blue, right? A lighter baby blue, something that's sleep, relaxing. So there's color psychology, color wheels that you can take a look at and it invokes this. Hey, did anyone know in here that McDonald's actually owns the trademark, copyright, whatever you want to call it, to the colors red and yellow for food? Anyone know that? They actually own that, so no fast food technically can use red and yellow in their colors. And red is for urgency and yellow is for comfort. So basically it means hurry up and get here and be comfortable, right? So that's what McDonald's is. So McDonald's really understands color psychology.
I thought In-N-Out Burger has red and yellow. Five Guys has red.
It might get sued, contact your check. But I know that typically, I don't know, maybe there's a hex code or a certain hue of it, shade, but primarily they actually own that, and you'll find a lot of spaces, people have proprietary colors for their said industry. But did anyone even know that yellow meant comfort, or energy, and also red meant urgency? And you can't use just red for urgency without another color, so you have to pair another color with it, so it's urgent for what? Is it urgent for comfort? Is it urgent for relaxing? Is it urgent for eco? So all that kind of stuff.
I would say though,
It's just test it. We all can have those opinions. Take your packaging, test it through your site, and see what you both resonate with the most.
Yeah.
That's the best way.
absolutely. Yeah, and that's a good takeaway too. Test it. When in doubt, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's what I would say for this as well too. I understand the color psychology, and you're right. I would still, if it was a CNC, if everyone was purple, could I be yellow, still get the click, and still be, like if I have the problem of, eating and I can't sleep, I'm going to click on the thing that gets my attention. I don't know if I'm thinking about the psychology just yet, but it is something that is very testable and should be tested. Yeah.
Would you both think that sweet spot is for how long you let it test and then how often you're testing on the same product?
So you want to always, ABT always be tested, right? Never be complacent. But how long, it really depends on what you're testing with, right? So if you're testing outside Amazon, it can be right away, depending on the polling size or anything like that. But if you're talking like an MYE, like an Amazon Manager Experiments, I see a lot of people come back and say, hey, I ran an MYE for a week and it sucked. What do I do? Well, I don't think a week is enough time for the typical MYE to run through. Usually when I talk to brands, it's between 4 to 6 or 4 to 8 weeks to really get, that actual data back.
Yeah, so I'd say the average cadence for a seller that's testing is about once a quarter. But the idea is you want to do the rapid testing with another platform first, so you're putting your best foot forward into Amazon's Manager Experiments, right? So you don't want to waste all that time with something that might not work. And then, everyone, it depends on, it really depends on your category and how much you're selling, that sort of thing. But what we find is once a quarter is a good metric for your top sellers to, test that main image. But also, go through the sanity test. Make sure that when you are doing the Manager Experiments, that you put your best foot forward on it as well.
Yeah, it depends what you're testing too, right? Are you testing for click-through? Are you testing for conversion? Are you testing for, testing ads, new ads you're running, like brand ads or, sponsored display or anything like that? So I think different cadence and different time frames for different things you're trying to do.
Great question.
Charles.
In your experience, can ChatGPT accurately simulate a split test?
No.
Both of you?
Sorry, can ChatGPT simulate a
Split test.
Yeah, so it can give you, so here's the thing. People and they come with emotions. They come with baggage, so to speak. So in some cases, yeah, you can just ask ChatGPT, hey, based on best practices, which one do you think is better? Sure, you could do that, but you'd be surprised at how there's many times where, like, knowing all the best practices, I think this is going to work, but it doesn't. Because people being people, you don't know, and you also don't know until you put it in context. So it's not enough necessarily to do just image versus image. You want to do an Amazon search simulation where you actually can test in the environment where it's going to go live. And obviously with click-through rate, it's not just the main image, it's the price, it's the title, it's everything else. So if you're testing in context, that's where you get the best data.
Yeah, with ChatGPT, for example, it's just telling you based on best practices, right? Best practices according to who, right? And who is the ICP, who's the avatar, right? So unless you're really building out that avatar, which I don't think ChatGPT is good for, even though it's like the buzz right now with the new image and stuff like that. But to me, Perplexity, the DeepSeek R1 reasoning is probably the strongest model. And there's ways that you can use Perplexity for search and DeepSeek for reasoning, and build out your ideal ICP customer avatar super granularly, where it could say, this is Susie, she's 28, she's eco-friendly, she has this amount of income, these are her top focuses, right? So technically you can build out 10, 20 versions of that ICP profile and then ping it against ChatGPT and then run it. There's a lot of other platforms that are on the stage that you can very easily do with real live people that are actual shoppers versus running down the rabbit hole of AI. And again, AI is fantastic, but AI is a tool in the toolbox, and I don't think you could really run this kind of stuff.
Great question. Yeah.
It's more of a comment. Everybody likes to say how conversion rate is so important because Amazon makes money when the product sells. Well, that's not really so true anymore. Let's say you have a $10 listing and it sells at 15%, they make about 50. If you're paying 50 cents a click and 10 people click before one converted, they make $5 on those dummy clicks.
So yeah, advertising, absolutely, they're making money. Amazon's making money every which way possible. The click, the conversion, yeah.
Right, but I'm saying it's in their interest right now to kind of stretch that out, to reduce the actual conversion and get more fake clicks or clicks that don't convert, because that's you suck 5-10 times more money out of this.
Well, that's when you want to have a better image, right? Where people aren't just window shopping. So if you're selling a supplement that's blueberry flavored gummies for sleep or something like that, that you're showing everything there, so you're not the one that Amazon's getting all those dummy clicks for, and then when someone clicks on you, you're not having a high tacos, high ACOS, wasted ad spend, because that's super painful, right? When someone clicks on it because they like it, but they land and it's like, oh, I love it, but I hate blueberry. And if you don't have another variation of a color in the parentage where you can cross-sell them on, if they're like, if they land on the blueberry, but okay, I kind of like kiwi or I like the strawberry, if you only have one flavor set profile and that's not what they're resonating with and they're going to purchase, you've lost that in basically ad spend.
So, but yeah, great comment. And yeah, I agree. So basically you need to optimize both. Optimize the click, so you get it, and then optimize the conversion, so once they are clicked, they're more likely to buy.
Yeah, no, of course, from the seller's perspective, I'm just saying that
But from Amazon
comment that Amazon makes money when they buy it, it's no longer true. They're making a lot more money when the customer doesn't buy it, and they get good stored on funds out of that.
It's a good question. Do they make more money on advertising, or do they make, which advertising obviously is massive, but do they make more money on the advertising side or on the conversion and everything else, seller fees side? Good. That's a really good question. Yeah.
If you're only worried about making money on advertising, then you basically go out of business, because people wouldn't buy it, they don't buy what they want them to do on the platform. So
Yeah.
they have to be concerned about conversion. That's why they want your listings to look so well. That's why they do and then it's when you come there and buy it. Because they say, hey, we want to sell something because we don't want to lose our customer to Walmart.
And conversions what also gets into the organic listings. Like, hey, Amazon wants to be the most customer-centric company. You want to align with that goal. So it's, hey, if someone's searching for the thing, and in Amazon's eyes, yeah, you get the conversion, you just answered that thing they're searching for, they're going to reward you with more organic rankings, hopefully.
But just think about the last time you made a purchase on Amazon, where you pulled out your phone 9 out of 10 times, right? Because more mobile shopping is done on Amazon than desktops. You searched for a product, you clicked on it. How many of you actually went on mobile below the fold and looked at the A+ content when shopping on Amazon for mobile? When shopping on mobile for Amazon? Probably not a lot, right? Unless you're a brand owner and you're selling in the space, yeah, then you're going down there and you're taking a look and seeing all that kind of stuff because you're in this space and you want to see that kind of stuff. But like my wife, for example, when she shops, she looks at the main hero image, she looks at the price, she looks at the image tag, and she does not go below the fold. So after your main hero image, your image tag is the most important thing, and then anything else below the fold is, in my opinion, I'm very contrarian, is a nice to have, but not technically converting, because even though the numbers and Amazon says everything they say, take a look the next time you shop on Amazon, how you actually shopping, if you're really going into the actual A+ content.
I'd agree with that. Like when we have videos where we actually watch how people shop, and it's true, people don't scroll. People are lazy inherently, like everyone, right? But there is a certain type of shopper that wants all the details, that wants more, right? And you will get people that will check it out. But just like any web page, most people spend the time above the fold. Is there a question back there? Yeah.
On a similar note, you might have already covered this, but what, in your opinion, is the breakdown for click-through rate between main image, price, title, badges, things like that? What's the hierarchy?
So that's a great question that I don't know, right? But I would say, and I don't think anyone knows behind it because there's a lot of psychology, right? So what's the one thing when you're looking at the image before you click, right? It's always the image, right? The one thing you look at is always going to be the image. So the way that I found that people shop on Amazon, from my experience, is first they're looking at the image, then they're looking at the price to see if they're willing to pay for said image, then they're going to the title to confirm what they're looking at, then they're looking at the reviews to see if it's worth it. So from my experience, that cycle is what people are looking at before they click. Are there some people that look just at price for commoditizing the two products and then don't worry about it, what the title says and what the image shows? 100%. But from my experience and seeing how many people shop, they see the image, that's going to resonate with them. Then before they click, they're looking at the price. Do I want to pay for this? Looking at the title to then reconfirm exactly what I'm looking at, and then seeing the ratings and if it's worthwhile. So that's typically the process.
I agree. And I'd say the price is actually probably a bigger lever for conversion as well too. You could have the ugliest main image, but if your price is like super cheap, people are going to be like, hey, that's awesome. But then are you actually making money, right? So the other thing it's all testable as well in an Amazon search simulation. So just for example, I'll give you a tidbit. A lot of people test like, is climate pledge friendly? Is that badge worth it? Because it costs like a few $1,000s to get that. Does anyone have climate pledge friendly? Okay, we have a few people. Did you find that it's worth it?
We need to spend money to get it.
Okay, if it's free, then hey,
Well, here's an important question. If someone's shopping on Amazon and that comes up, does that sway your purchase? Yes or no? Right. That's the other thing where it's like the overall pick, top choice, all these icons that Amazon throws out there. Is it really conveying you, oh my God, I have to click on this because this is Amazon's choice? Most people don't believe Amazon from the first place, right?
And the answer, so the climate pledge for most brands that we've seen, it depends on the category. Usually climate pledge friendly doesn't change your clicks. Cool. So I think, yeah.
One more question for you.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
When you do a test and manage your experiments, what percentage of probability are you comfortable with the results to say this is a definitive answer?
So like what statistical significance?
Yeah, I think it's funny, it's a little vague the way they set it for statistics. The results.
Yeah, so statistical, so for me, like in marketing, like in pharma, you want to have 99.9% statistical significance that this thing's not going to kill you. For marketing purposes, 80% plus is like is a ballpark, and all it means is like if you repeated the experiment, so that number basically means if you repeated the experiment 80% of the time, you get the same result. So personally, 80-85% feels like a good number to move forward with an option. Then we have to take a question here. One more question. Yeah, I think you have a question.
So you probably just like video. So I know it's not on on utilizing and changing content now. People would tend to be more effective with creating product details.
So it depends on the product. It depends on the product. If it's a demonstrable thing, that's a higher price point that I'm going to spend $300 or $400 on. It's very technical, and I have to connect wires and stuff too. That's definitely of importance. But if it's an ice cream scoop for $8, and I don't need to see a video for that, I'm also a firm believer in I consume video on certain platforms. Like if I want to see an unboxing of a product, I look at YouTube. Right? I'm typically not looking at Amazon, especially if it's embedded in the premium A+ content and doesn't have too much of a compelling image. But yeah, it really depends on the product itself.
All right, thanks guys. That's our time. Really appreciate it.